Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel, and I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering BelAir Season 3, Episode 10, and the season finale. Currently streaming on the Peacock app. Lord, we need more episodes. And not just, I say it out of loving the show, but there was a lot of things I feel like were still dropped. Good show. Good season. They really did a good job, but I think some other stuff needed to be fleshed out. And Peacock, I mean, we can do 20 or something and just cut it in half. How about that? Because no, we need more. Anyways, I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video and also subscribe to my channel. You can also leave your comments below. Let's get into this. All right. So it's almost the big day for Hillary. Everyone's gathering at the home because people will be soon traveling to Martha's Vineyard. We find out that Hillary lost her engagement ring. And she said, don't tell nobody, don't tell the Marcus and all that. So she's hiding her ring, her finger, her hand, whatever, as LaMarcus and the parents that come over. Later on, the parents, also LaMarcus and Hillary, they go on and they're talking and they're just giving some advice and all that. Viv gives that there are 3 important rings that you need to have: engagement ring, wedding ring, and suffering ring. Somehow Hillary let her hand be exposed, and LaMarcus said, so where's your ring? And then nervously Hillary said, oh, I'm getting it cleaned. I wanted the extra sparkle or shine or whatever when they go to Martha's Vineyard. So the advice that they were giving, try to talk things out and fight for your relationship and your marriage and just be open for whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then LaMarcus's dad opened up and said, just like you guys worked out your marriage when Phil was kissing that woman, Hillary heard it. She didn't let on to them that she knew. We saw that she did take a little glance, but they didn't see it or whatever. And they was like, shh, you didn't have to really say all that, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, but I'm just giving an example of you guys working through stuff instead of just quitting, Drew. Oh, yeah, Drew. I didn't mention this in my last video because I was quite a mess. Drew, remember from last season, Lisa's boyfriend, and also nemesis of Carlton, and a little bit of Will, the one that leaked that video of Carlton allowing other white people sing that rap song and say ninjas. That's it. So their investor is his father, Drew's father. And since I guess Drew is a part of the youth, part of whatever of this company, the dad has assigned him to work with Will and Carlton with Black Sis. So Drew got all these ideas to kind of just change the whole kind of format of things, and Carlton isn't really feeling that. First, Carlton was like, oh, yeah, we good. We can do this. I have no problems with him. But then he just found out how triggering Drew can be. They ended up talking about about Carlton crashing out during the junior year of school. And Carlton basically just says, I can't work with him. Now that we're at Martha's Vineyard, Viv says that she feels seasick. Oh, I wonder what that could mean. We're going to find out this in this episode. If you have not watched, spoiler alert when I get to the end. Carlton talks to Uncle Phil and asks, have you looked over the contract? Is there any way that I can get out of it? And Phil said, I do give you this advice. Don't be so quick to let your emotions drive your decisions. That's something I had to learn. And he also was talking about that he's working on a big surprise. And Carlton was like, oh, it's something big. And then Carlton said, what? It's a surprise. We'll find out that at the end of the episode. Ashley catches up with, I think his name was Wes. I don't know if it was. I forgot his name from last week. But the guy that is non-binary and is into guys, his family's out there at this time. And I guess they have been traveling out there for some reason. Ashley and Wes never really linked up before. But he said, I guess it was always the right time for them to meet, is now. So they're hanging out. He does bring up, I did tell you I like you and I don't want to make things weird, just forget what I even said. And Ashley's like, forget it? Why? She says, basically I like you too. And she said, how my parents were freaking out before, I think we need to just keep it a secret for a little while. So now you can keep secrets, Ashley. Now, you ain't grown, or at least in that age bracket, but we're going to call you out on how you was, during the first part of the season. Don't be keeping secrets now when you want everybody else to tell their truth. Aunt Vi, she arrives, and she arrives with a man, Gerald. Will put it together. Okay, they're staying at the same hotel. Like, what? It's similar to how it was on Fresh Prince when Vi got Robert. Remember him? They hooked up and all that good stuff. Hillary is feeling nervous. I think she still wants to talk about this engagement ring stuff, but she ends up telling him or asking him, do you want a prenup? Lamarcus said, I'm good. That's quite interesting. I mean, they both have assets. Hopefully they don't end up hating each other in the long run, and then it becomes this huge war between the bank fortune and whatever is hers and his fortune, you know? So I don't think that was smart to do. There should have been a prenup. Back in LA, Jazz finds the engagement ring. And basically, they got to get it to him pretty quickly. Ivy, I think, ended up buying a ticket for him to get to Martha's Vineyard, so that they can get this, so that she can have it by the time they get married. Jazz has arrived. He meets up with Will, and he says, I want to take this to Hillary. And Will was like, don't mess up the funeral. Don't. I said funeral. I said funeral. Don't mess this up for them, But Jazz feels like it's fate. There's no way that the ring would end up in my room like this. So are we about to get Dwayne Wayne with the Gilbert interruption? Baby, please. I would love it. I would love it. I think they're taking pictures right now or whatever. And Jeffrey's having these little monologues with everyone that he loves within the bank's home. And it was feeling like some type of goodbye. I don't think anyone was picking up on it. Will ends up speaking to Gerald and saying, hey, I love this woman, treat her right and all this good stuff. He ends up finding out from Gerald, that she gets a lot of attention in Philly. I'm surprised that I actually got a chance, but I'm glad I'm here now. And Will's like, what? Like, Will, she has a life outside of you. But it looks like it was hidden. But Vi talks about that a little bit later. So Jazz goes up to see Hillary, and he asks Hillary, are you happy? She says yes. And basically, he just wanted to give the ring, and I'm just letting you go at this point. Be happy. Lisa meets up with Jamal Hill. I think he's a football player. They talk a little bit about CMT. It's some type of condition where you're kind of in your head and not really wanting to have some type of fear or anxiety about about the sport you're doing and all that. And he says, it's an everyday, not struggle. It's a thing that he has to still overcome all the time. And this did strengthen Lisa, before she wanted to quit, and kind of that same anxiety when she was seeing Amira face down in the pool, or face up in the pool. So as Jazz was leaving the room, Hillary was coming out, Lamarcus comes there, and Lamarcus ready to tear Jazz apart. So then Hillary had to go on and confess. Jazz was here to bring me my ring. I had lost it. It was with him. And also, we had a kiss a couple months ago, but it didn't mean anything. We had some unresolved stuff that we had to do. Nothing happened while we were there. No sex or anything to that nature. Well, it wasn't enough for Lamarcus, and he ended up leaving. Ashley and Will, they go find Lamarcus, and they said, look, truthfully, I was not on your side. Lamarcus said, okay, I get it. Y'all were Team Jazz, And so they said, but we understand that Hillary really loves you, and we accepted you, and we embrace you as our brother and cousin-in-law, blah, 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 blah. Hillary comes in and takes over from there and says, one thing that I do get from my parents is to still fight for the relationships that we want to be in. And what I want you to do, after a little bit more monologue, meet me at the altar. Let's go back to the song that you actually started off with last week. Meet me at the altar. That song. So Hillary leaves. And Hillary says, so what, or they asked Hillary, what's the outcome? And they said, fire up the wedding or whatever. Let's resume. So they're doing their thing. Lamarcus ended up showing up because at that moment he hadn't decided if he was coming or not. Audra Day is at the wedding and she's singing, and she's the one that's singing as she's being courted down the aisle. Before that, sorry, never mind, not yet. But Audra Day is there. Phil and Hillary, they have a little talk, about making mistakes. When you were talking about making mistakes about the kiss, that's what you were talking about? And Phil said, yes, I did do that, da-da-da-da-da. But the one thing that you do is you keep showing up despite making mistakes, and I think that that's cool. But don't try to manipulate. Show up right, and show up that you really want to make the relationship work instead of playing with people's emotions and time. All right, so LaMarcus does make it to the wedding. They say their vows and all that good stuff. Did y'all know that LaMarcus's middle name is Trevor? I think the writers were giving us a little wink as to what happened in season 4 of Fresh Prince of BelAir. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. And Hillary's middle name is Renee. Ashley and Wes, or I think his name is Wes. Ashley tells him, I don't want to keep us a secret. I'm going to tell my parents after what Hillary already went through. It's just, the lies are just going to make things worse. He agrees, and they still like each other and want to be together, I guess. Lisa talks with Will after the wedding, so they do actually get married. Jazz didn't stop the wedding or anything. Lisa tells Will that she's going to stay in the race and fight for the Nationals. And of course, he congratulates her on that. So we're back at home. Not yet. Will and Vi, they talk. And she says, I'm willing to put away my feelings so that you can be happy, as I was seeing Jazz do today for Hillary. And they talk a little bit, Vi says, I kept a lot of the men that I was seeing away from you because I didn't know if they were going to stay around or whatever. I didn't know if they were going to be consistent or not. So, I have a life. I'm still vivacious. I'm this, da, 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 da. And then Will's like, So basically, Will approves, go live your life. Okay, so back at home now. Carlton gets this letter from Princeton, or at least some of the advisors there. And they said, basically, it's opening back the door that's going on. They've been watching his comeback story, seeing the success of Black Cess, and possibly he can get back in to Princeton. And Will says, I see you're happy about that. Hopefully you are open for something more. They meet with Drew and just said, hey, I'm willing to bury the hatchet of everything. We had drama in the past, but we have something great. And let's approach this business as a team. And all we have to do is just keep our minds that the focus is to open the doors for people that look like us. That's all he asks as far as rules that are going on. Drew commits to that. Carlton commits to that. All that good stuff. The teens go and see Amira. She's going to rehab. And this addiction center specializes in addiction tied to trauma. And she does thank everyone for still being their friend after I did say a lot of messed up stuff. And they says, no sweat. Come on, we still love you. You're still our friend. Carlton and her say goodbye. Da 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 da. Now we're back in South LA. And there's this presentation of Gamble Square. What he's learned about is Uncle Phil is using our own resources to supply the community. Omar says that he is not pressing charges and he's just giving a clean slate to anybody that was doing any larceny or vandalism. Phil does introduce to the community that there's a new investment team. There's athletes, CEO, pastors, entrepreneurs that are going to rebuild the block again, or the community. There's going to be a property tax forgiveness. So Jazz is back in business. Thank God for that. And also vote for Yolanda Porter for whatever spot she's going to get. I said, okay, go ahead, Yolanda. After the whole shindig, Will was like, they passed by a basketball court, and it looked like Will was sad about that. And then Carlton said, let's go. And then it was brought up, wasn't Jeffrey supposed to be here? And they said, yeah, he's supposed to be here. Uncle Phil makes it back to the house, and he sees this letter from Jeffrey. And long story short, he's leaving with Penelope and Frederick to start anew and to get away from what's going on with this organization. We also see that Viv has a pregnancy test, and it is positive. All right, little Nikki. I guess that's the sickness. Got you in the groove. See what happens when your parents make up after thinking about swinging? So LaMarcus and Hillary, they are on their vacation. I think it's Turks and Caicos or Cancun. I forgot which one. Anyways, they're planning for the day and all that. Hillary gets up for a few minutes. Next thing you know, LaMarcus is unresponsive, and she's trying to wake him. And when I said about the whole winking thing with the Trevor situation, remember Hillary's boyfriend was going to propose to her on Fresh Prince of BelAir, Trevor, the weatherman, and he ended up falling to his end while he was bungee jumping, asking her to marry him. So I think this is maybe the end. Who knows? I don't know. But Hillary already, it was foreshadowing when Hillary was like, look, are you supposed to be traveling? Your doctor said, you're not really supposed to be traveling. You said, never mind all that. So possibly that has hurt him a little bit. I'm thinking he's possibly passed away. I don't want to lose LaMarcus, but we got to make sure that Jazz and Hillary stay together or get together. They're in gang. So sorry, LaMarcus, but we'll see what happens. So Will goes to G's apartment and finds that it is empty. Somebody is taking out some clothes, and they're saying that whoever was over here said to donate whatever's here. Will is coming out of G's apartment area, and next thing you know, he is kidnapped. He is thrown into a van. Somebody made reference to that time where Will wasn't going to come back. Like it was like season 3 or season 4 or whatever, and the NBC executives pulled him back to the van because he was going to stay in Philly. That was what was going on. I said, oh Lord, I don't think it's that deep as far as that reference, but that's the end. And I really think we need more episodes. I do. Hopefully Peacock does extend it at a later time or whatever. But I did love this season. I cried. I got mad. I was so passionate. I was healed by certain things. And I thank you, writers. I thank you, cast and crew, for what you've done for us. Until next season, hopefully we don't have to wait a whole year. Maybe they'll go back to around February to start airing again, but we'll have to see. I appreciate everyone for hanging with me and supporting me. Please like this video and also subscribe to my channel. And until the next one, peace.